In today's live guitar party, I'm going to share with you 5 tips that will help level up your fingerstyle guitar game, whether you've just started playing fingerstyle or you've been playing for quite a while. I'm also going to share some small wins, tackiversaries, I'll answer your questions live, and oh yeah, I'll be giving away a guitar as well. That's all coming up right after this. My name is Tony Policastro. I'm part of an underground group of acoustic guitar enthusiasts you've probably never heard of. We're not here to play face-melting guitar solos or judge other guitar players. Our purpose is much greater than that. For us, it's about expanding our quality of life through music and having fun with our guitar, not just mastering it. Getting better at guitar is proof that we do have what it takes to be a guitar player, which means we can build stronger bonds with friends and create lasting musical family traditions. But if you asked a guitar snob or a music academic, they would turn up their nose and say their way is better. Yet this way of seeing the guitar is changing lives every single day. We follow a specific framework and set of values that keeps us focused on what matters most: human connection, constant progress, and fun. It's happening, and we call it living the acoustic life. This is our acoustic life, and these are our stories. Welcome to Guitar Party number 70. Number 70, the big 70. Welcome. I am so happy that you are here. If this is your first ever guitar party, an extra big dose of welcome to you. And of course, I'll make sure to let you know how today's guitar party is going to work. I'll give you a brief overview. I see there's a bunch of people buzzing in the comments, and I'll get over there in just a moment. But let me give you the overview for today. I'll kick things off with a fingerstyle guitar workshop where I'm just going to go through 5 tips that will help you level up your fingerstyle guitar game. In fact, I'm going to actually commute for that little workshop. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a moment. I'll also take your questions on that workshop and, of course, other playing topics. Today, I'll also include some very important announcements on some upcoming things here at Tony's Acoustic Challenge. We'll celebrate tackiversaries. We're going to take a quick sneak peek into the community, of course, and look at some performances. There's been some great activity in the community that I cannot wait to highlight. And of course, standing by with me today is Colorado Kyle. Colorado Kyle is there in back of the crow's nest. Not only is he... I just saw your thing. Not only is he going to be pressing buttons today, he will be helping with reading questions and celebrating small wins with you. And of course, he'll be doing all of that, juggling like an extraordinary expert. Indeed, that's what he's doing. He's juggling. On that same note, you'll notice that Allie is not with us here today. Allie has moved on from the Tony's Acoustic Challenge family, and we wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors, and a special hello to her as well. So let me go ahead and dig right in today. I want to say hi to everybody that's on board here today. I see a bunch of people in the comments, and I cannot wait to dig in, but I just want to take a second and kind of zoom out for a second and thank you for being a part of this Guitar Geek community. Time and time again, I'm reminded at how truly special this Guitar Geek community is, and I just want to offer a huge heartfelt thanks from myself, Colorado Kyle, everybody here involved in Tony's Acoustic Challenge. You all make this community such a supportive, encouraging, and uplifting environment. It is so humbling to be a part of something like this, and it exists the way that it does because of you. And I just want to say thank you. Time and time again, as I said, I'm reminded, I go to other forums and I kind of do my Guitar Geek rounds online. And I love the passion that Guitar Geeks have, but some forums, it's like you post a question or make a statement and you're just ready. You kind of like put on your armor. You're ready to get like completely torched for whatever you said. And I never see that happening within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And I just want to thank you all for that. I think it's such a delight to log in and be surrounded by positivity, amazing performances, kind words, and overall just guitar geeky things. So a heartfelt thanks from all of us here at Tony's Acoustic Challenge. Let me dig into the comments here and see who's all with us. Holy smokes, we got a ton of people. I want to say hi to Mike G, hi to Lowell A, of course, Kraz is tuned in, Richard L is tuned in, Dr. Dave, I got those CDs here somewhere. Oh, I put them on my desk, my other desk. I got 2 desks. Dr. Dave, I received the Fireside Collective albums, and I believe you'll see that pop up in episode 140. 3 of Acoustic Tuesday. I believe that's correct. But hi to you, Dr. Dave. We got Dennis M. is here, Patty H., Randall G. from Wyoming, welcome. Art A., Mike G. I think I already said hi to you, Mike G., but if not, hey, double hello. That can never hurt, right? I also want to say hi to Siggy, Ricky K., Elliot F., Sherry, holy smokes. Welcome. I'm so happy and just thrilled that you all are spending time with us on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon, the day after Cinco de Mayo. I thought that since spring is kind of here, although there's snow in the forecast, I need to bust out my shovel again. I thought I'd wear the green Blackhawks jersey because it seems springy. I look at the hills of the mountains, they're green. I figured I'd bring the green to the Hawks jersey. Anyways, let me, I digress. Let me just say hi to everybody. As a whole, thank you for joining today. I want to kick things off with a fingerstyle guitar workshop here, but I have to commute for this workshop. I'm actually going to commute over to my couch here because I think fingerstyle guitar is best played on the couch. So I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I should grab my computer because I have my notes on my computer. Let me get my computer here and make the commute. Hopefully traffic isn't too bad. All right, here we go. Well, here I am on the wonderful couch. You saw my commute there. It's pretty long. Traffic was okay. I made it. But I want to dig into fingerstyle guitar for a specific reason. You'll notice that this month's practice challenge is kicked off with a 5-day finger stretch challenge. We'll get into that in a second. But I thought about fingerstyle guitar, and I thought about the first time that I encountered fingerstyle guitar. And I thought to myself, I remember it was... I was at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and Eric Lugosh, fingerstyle guitar player extraordinaire, came in, and he was playing his guitar, and I remember looking at him playing, and I remember thinking, how the hell is all of that sound coming out of that guitar from one person? What is happening? And right then and there, I knew I had to learn more about it, and I think fingerstyle guitar is one of those techniques, one of those styles on guitar that immediately, right out of the chute, appears very difficult. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that the components of fingerstyle guitar are actually pretty simple when you break it down. And I wanted to highlight that among some other things that will help you gain some confidence in the fingerstyle department. Again, whether you've just started fingerstyle guitar or you've been playing for some time, I wanted to go ahead and sink into 5 things that I know will help you on your fingerstyle guitar journey. Now, as I go through this workshop, it's important to note that questions will likely come about. If you have a question in the comments below, just put #question. We've got a multi-state question gathering machine at play here. In fact, Jonah is out in Washington. Is he in Washington or Oregon?
Oregon.
He's in Oregon? I was going to say Washington. Jonah's out in Oregon, and he's collecting questions and delivering those via text to Colorado Kyle. So yeah, we got a network of question gatherers out there. But as questions come up again in the comments, put #question, and we'll go ahead and get to as many as we can today, and to keep your questions answered and the fingerstyle guitar flowing. Well, let me dive into the first tip that I have for you, and that is understanding the mechanics of fingerstyle guitar. And I'm namely talking about the picking hand here. There are 3 pieces to the finger picking puzzle, and you can literally count them on your hand. You've got the thumb, you've got your index finger, and you've got your middle finger. That's it. Those are the mechanics. Those are the pieces of the fingerstyle puzzle in terms of the picking hand. These do the lion's share of the work. Now, there are some players, some teachers, myself included, that will use the ring finger as well. And that's okay, but just to limit the moving parts, I just want to focus on these 3 fingers today. There's nothing wrong with using the ring finger. If it works for you and is comfortable, great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. It's not one of those have-to things. So, understanding the mechanics. The thumb functions on the bass strings, right? The E, the A, and the D. The index finger grabs the G and the B string, and the middle finger, the high E. Right? So those essentially are the roles of the picking hand, and specifically the picking fingers. Now, that actually brings me to the next point I want to make, and that's the second tip I have for you, and that is, how best do you sync up with the tempo when it comes to fingerstyle guitar? So you've got the pieces, right? Okay, cool. Tone, I get it. Thumb, index, middle. I got it. My rite of passage, right? Yeah, kind of, but we have to sync up with the tempo to make sure we're playing in time. And again, fingerstyle guitar, when you hear it, might feel a little bit intimidating, but it's actually, I've found it in my personal experience, I found it easier to sync up with a metronome when playing fingerstyle guitar, instead of when I'm playing with a pick. When I play with a pick, I feel like I can be all over the place when it comes to time. Fingerstyle guitar is a little bit more regimented, and I'll explain why. Again, we have the thumb, index, and middle finger, and the thumb's responsible for the bass notes, so let's start there. In terms of syncing up with the tempo, the thumb lands on the downbeat. So when you're listening to a metronome and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, your thumb is hitting on all those downbeats. And I'll go ahead and count along with it. I'm just going to fret, for the sake of ease, I'm going to fret a G chord here, and my thumb's just going to bounce between the low E and the D string. So in terms of syncing with tempo, if I count along, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's as simple as that. The thumb's responsible for that steady bass pulse, right? So if we can sync up the thumb, we're one step ahead of the game when it comes to really playing in time. And then you're asking yourself, well, what about the other fingers? Well, the other fingers, the middle and the index finger, have an interesting responsibility because they too can function on the downbeat, but they can also function on the and beat as well. But let's not complicate things. Let's stay with the downbeat, that nice steady 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I'm going to grab that G chord, what I'm going to do is use the index finger on the B string and the middle finger on the high E. When my thumb hits the low E, the index finger is going to strike the B in a pinch form. And when my thumb hits the D string, the middle finger is going to strike the high E again in a pinch. Right? So the thumb and the index are working together on the downbeat, and the thumb and the middle finger are working together on the downbeat. And that'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's pretty nice, pretty even. And again, another step closer to syncing in and playing in time. Now, the final one I'll have for you is this. The and beat, right? We have our standard metronome count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if we include eighth notes, that count becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now remember, the thumb is hooked on those numbers, right? The thumb is on those downbeats. For the and beat, we can use the index or the middle finger. I'll use the same orientation I did before with the pinch, but instead, now my thumb will hit the low E on the 1, index finger hits the B on the and, thumb hits the D on the 2, middle finger hits the high E on the and of 2. All right, so that'll be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Right, so I like to call that a staggered pinch. So that's one way you can sync with the tempo, right? Is know which beat's responsibility is the responsibility of which finger. The other thing you can do to sync with the tempo, and then I'll move on to the next tip here, is to actually say what finger is responsible. So if it's just a bass line, you would say something like this. Thumb, 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 thumb. If it was a pinch, let's say it was a bass line, 2 beats of a bass line followed by 2 pinches, that would sound like this. Thumb, thumb, pinch, pinch, thumb, thumb, pinch, pinch. And then finally, you could announce the index and middle finger on those and beats, and that would sound like this. Thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle. Why would you do such a crazy thing like that? Well, sometimes it's really difficult to count and keep the fingers straight. So it's like 2 different languages going on at once. Whereas if you announce what finger you're actually using to activate the string, your brain almost forces it to do it. Meaning if you said index while your thumb fired, your brain would send up a red flag saying, whoa, 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 back up, Tone, that's not right. You said index, it should be the index finger. So it's kind of a system of checks and balances in terms of syncing with the tempo. Moving on to the third tip I have to offer you, and this is holding less tension, right? I don't want you to hold tension when you finger pick, and how do you do that? There's a simple thing I want you to employ right this very second. The tendency while finger picking is to hold your picking arm and hand just extremely rigid and just move the fingers, almost as if we're pressing buttons. Like think of it like scratching and clawing, right? If I don't move my picking hand or my arm or anything, then my picking hand will stay in one spot. I'll have more accuracy. It seems logical, right? Well, when you hold your picking hand so rigid, your picking arm for that matter, so rigid, it actually increases the tension and you get this kind of snappy, almost irregular sound in terms of tone, and it can even affect your timing as well. So instead of holding your picking hand still and holding all this tension, almost having like a claw grip, I want you to loosen up and have the weight of your hand actually activate the string. Now I'm talking about the bass notes here, right? If my thumb is hitting the A string and then the D string, all I'm doing is letting the thumb rest on the string, and then the weight of the hand pulls it off, right? You can see my hand just kind of fall. That's the kind of looseness and the relaxation I want in your picking hand. And the same is true for the index and middle finger. You don't have to dig into the string and pull it off the fretboard or pull it off the face of the guitar. You just have to gently hit it. Let the pad of your finger or your fingernail gently touch the string and then move through it, right? We're not trying to pull at the string, we're trying to move through it. And in kind of incorporating that into your playing, that will start to cause reduced tension and ultimately a more fluid style of playing, and allow you to feel more comfortable playing fingerstyle and ultimately be more accurate as well. So hold less tension. That's tip number 3. And then let's move on to tip number 4, and this is understanding the tools of the trade. And this is something that I think can have a huge impact on your fingerstyle guitar game, because there's really 3 main modes of tone production. You can use the pads of your fingers, right? You can use your fingernails if you have them, or you can use finger and thumb picks, which I'll demonstrate here in a moment. Now, when you use your finger pads, you get a much more thumpy sound, right? It's a more fat, kind of a round sound. Let me give you an example. You hear a little bit more of a snappy bass, a little bit more of a kind of a thumpy bass. This is great for old blues tunes, so that's one option. The next option is fingernails. Now, fingernails offer a much more delicate and articulate sound, but not necessarily as much volume as the pads of the fingers. Here's the same song played with fingernails. So it's a little bit more delicate. It's almost more harp-like, and you can hear that the volume has decreased significantly. I also feel like when I use my fingernails, I can't necessarily dig in. So I always choose to use my fingernails when I don't want to dig in, when I want to be more delicate and have a little bit more of a balanced sound. Now, the third option is to, of course, use a thumb pick and finger picks. Now, this is interesting. This is like adding horsepower to your engine, because finger picks and thumb picks actually allow you to play a little bit faster. Now, I'm not saying this because I want everybody out there playing, Mach 10. I'm saying this because the release or the friction generated from the pick as compared to the pad of your finger is much less with picks. They're a little bit more slick, so you will actually be able to play faster. Along with that, you'll get more volume and you'll get more articulation. So I'm going to play that same song, Freight Train, with finger picks so you can hear what it sounds like. So you get a little bit more volume, you get a little bit more articulation. The downside of finger picks is that you can't feel the strings, and it definitely takes some getting used to. So those are the tools of the trade: finger pads, fingernails, or finger picks. Now, which one is best? It's not about one being better than the other. It's about the tone you're going after and ultimately what's comfortable for you. So I wanted to lay those 3 options out so you could choose or experiment, because ultimately that's how you'll know what works for you. And the final thing, the final tip I have to offer you in terms of developing your fingerstyle guitar technique is developing muscle memory. Okay, and this is something that can be as simple as putting on your favorite TV show at the end of the day, grabbing your guitar, holding a single chord shape, and just executing a pattern. thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle. Now, if there's other people watching the show with you, they might not want to hear the guitar. In that case, you can actually just mute the strings and just develop this nice muscle memory, right? You want to be able to develop this muscle memory so that your finger picking patterns are executed almost unconsciously. You can talk through them, you can watch, you can look around the room, right? That's the goal here. And ultimately, that's where the magic and ease of fingerstyle kind of gets unlocked, because once this muscle memory bank is developed, you immediately have the ability to explore other things because your brain isn't thinking about thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle. It's unconsciously processing that. So there you have it. 5 things to do to help you with your fingerstyle guitar. I'm going to head back to the desk to take some questions. And while I make the commute, Kyle, if you could queue up that first question, I would just be delighted. I would be absolutely delighted.
Happy to.
That's a long commute.
Lighter
traffic on the way back. Lighter traffic on the way from Denver proper. You would know about traffic. From Bozeman proper, I don't know about traffic.
Yeah, that's the one thing I definitely do not miss about Denver is the traffic.
I bet. Do you have any questions?
Yes, we do. All right. So first question. I want to get Santa Cruz strings for my custom Martin 00016 SRGT. Bit confused regarding body size and scale length and the best way to those strings in Canada. Thanks.
Ooh, great question. I would order direct from Santa Cruz. In fact, you can fire an email to Santa Cruz Guitar Company, put attention Carolyn, let her know that you're from Tony's Acoustic Challenge. They always like to hear that. Carolyn's always like, your people are so nice. And I'm like, I know, they're pretty incredible. So anyways, first of all, yeah, I would say order direct from Santa Cruz. You can always fire an email direct to their helpline there, and they'll be able to get back to you. But in terms of which strings to choose for your guitar, Triple O is going to have a shorter scale length, 24 and 3/4. So in that regard, I would actually favor, now I might be crazy on this, I would actually favor the mid-tensions, so you still get a little bit of resistance from the string, and you get a little bit of that extra volume. But it really might be worth trying both to see what works best for you. What you can expect is that the mid-tensions will offer a little bit more resistance, a little bit more of a stiffer feel under your fingers, or flat pick, whichever you choose to use. Whereas the low tensions are a little bit more bendy. They're a little bit more flexible. So if you like to play kind of thumpy blues and things like that and really dig in on the bass, that might be a great option for you as well. So I would really, honestly, I would try one of each. And I've been doing this as well on some of the guitars that I think, oh, mid-tensions are a fit. I try the low tensions just to see what the effect is on the instrument. And more often than not, I'll stick to my guns and stick with the mid-tensions, but it's nice to at least know what you're giving up on one set of strings for the other, and of course, vice versa. So that's a great question, but reach out to Santa Cruz directly, put attention Carolyn in the subject line, and yeah, let her know that you're a member of Tony's Acoustic Challenge. She always likes to hear from us.
Sweet. Jim Cross. Tony, any tips for getting the ring finger active and fingerstyle? I find it tends to naturally act as an anchor point, and it's difficult to get it off the pickguard and onto the low E string.
Yeah. So first of all, I gotta say this, Cross. Kyle is currently wearing a Quebec Nordiques hat that I bought him as a gift. So I just wanted to mention that because I know Cross is a hockey fan. But this is a great question in terms of fingerstyle, because so often, and you can see this on videos, there's so many different approaches to the style itself. A lot of times folks will put fingers on the pickguard to kind of feel like they're anchored. So one of the steps I could say to you, Jim, is instead of using your ring finger as an anchor, try and move your pinky finger into the anchor position. And that'll actually free up your ring finger to actually just even use on the high E string. Okay, so that's the first step. That'll kind of maybe feel a little bit odd at first, but it'll still give you the comfort of having an anchor. The second thing I could offer is just instead of integrating the ring finger into a full-on pattern right away, just kind of play ping pong with the thumb. What do I mean by that? Hold down any chord you like. I'm going to use a G chord because it seems to be the one that I'm stuck on. It's my favorite chord anyway. Keep your thumb on the low E string, and then use your ring finger to activate the high E. And just go back and forth, right? Thumb, ring, thumb, ring, thumb, ring, thumb, ring. This will allow you to at least start to develop the feel, right? Without a complicated pattern. And then as things start to feel good when you alternate thumb, ring, you can work in a couple pinches in there as well. So it'd be thumb, ring, pinch, thumb, ring, pinch, thumb, ring, pinch. Just two different ways to kind of start activating that ring finger. But bottom line, what you want to do is not throw the ring finger into the fire. You don't want to put the ring finger into the sink or swim situation. You want to gradually introduce it to finger picking so that you're kind of methodically building the strength in your ring finger so that it becomes a tool for you. And ultimately, it will. One of the other things that has helped me, and I should share this because it has been a big help, is hybrid picking. If you look in stage 2, there's a hybrid picking course. And if you can't find that, I know that there's a YouTube video that I did with hybrid picking where you actually still hold your flat pick between your thumb and your index finger, but you finger pick with your middle and your ring finger. So that really does build strength with the ring finger as well. But I would put that step as much later on down the line in terms of integrating your ring finger. So I hope that helps. And yeah, there you have it.
One more.
Yeah, let's do another one.
All right. Jim Wood says, well, talk to us about pinky anchoring. How bad of a habit is it really?
This is an awesome question, and it's this ongoing debate. It's almost as hefty a debate as Martin versus Taylor. I would actually venture to guess it's more hefty of a debate. Should you anchor your pinky or not? I would like to say this. I would like to chime in on this argument. When you're finger picking and you're anchoring your finger, and it doesn't affect your timing, it doesn't affect your tone, it doesn't affect your rhythm, it doesn't affect how you can access certain notes, then anchor away. Anchors away. I don't think that's a sailing term, but it should be. If you don't anchor your pinky and you have solid timing, solid tone, great technique, you can access chord shapes and transition smoothly, etc., then don't anchor. So ultimately, the filter we need to run this through is, does having an anchor affect the tone, the timing, or the technique? If it affects one of those three things, then try not anchoring. And vice versa. So ultimately, you run everything through the filter of, does this affect my timing? That's pretty important. Does it affect the tone? Does it affect the technique? And if it doesn't affect any of those things, I would say go for it. I mean, if you look at some of the great blues players. You've got Mississippi John Hurt. You've got Charlie Patton, although no video footage. Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Willie Johnson. I mean, the names just go on and on and on. If you look at any footage, Lightnin' Hopkins, try and find footage and see what their right hand picking does, because every one of those players has a different approach. And it's kind of like, well, what's right? What ends up being right is what is comfortable for you and doesn't affect your timing, tone, or technique. Now, that being the case, there's a lot of academic types that would say, oh, no anchoring. You don't want to anchor at all. I don't necessarily buy that. I mean, certain styles of guitar, yeah, like classical guitar, you don't want to anchor at all. Certain flat pickers don't like to anchor at all. You look at a guy like David Greer versus a guy like Tim Stafford, and even taking this into the flat picking world, those two players are phenomenal, but they approach flat picking very, very differently. Is one right? Is one wrong? I don't think so. I think the music actually speaks for itself. So ultimately, do you anchor? Do you not anchor? If you find it comfortable to anchor, go ahead and anchor, as long as it doesn't affect your tone, as long as it doesn't affect your timing, or ultimately your technique. So there you have it. That's my weigh in on the debate. Any other questions, Kyle? Are we good?
That's it for now.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to move on because I want to address what's happening right now here in Tony's Acoustic Challenge. You're in the midst of a 5-day fiesta Yeah, I know. Cinco de Mayo was yesterday. So we thought to ourselves, what better way to celebrate on the guitar than have a 5-day finger stretch fiesta challenge? Five-day finger stretch fiesta challenge. I think that was right. So you'll notice that this week, it's a little bit of a departure from our normal kind of routine. You're going to look at 5 specific challenges designed to help your fingers kind of gain a little bit in the stretch department. By the end of this week, your fingers will feel a little bit more agile, will feel a little bit more nimble, will feel a little bit more confident in terms of how they are on the fretboard. Now, real quickly, the goal with this 5-day finger stretch challenge is to bring some consciousness towards like, wow, okay, if I did that, my fingers would be able to reach a little bit further. But it's not about reaching across the entire fretboard with your whole hand. The goal is not to reach from fret 1 to 7 between your index and your pinky finger. Although that would be really cool, that's not the goal. The goal is to develop your fret span. Think of it as like wingspan, but for guitar geeks. And ultimately, have you feel confident and comfortable even within a singular position, like first position. If we look at first position, where we have one finger per fret, now I don't think about this at all. It doesn't feel uncomfortable to me. But I know for a fact when I first started playing guitar, first position, I was like, you want my pinky to do what? Like, you want my pinky to hit the 4th fret with strength? Like, hold the string down? So that's really the goal of this finger stretch challenge, is to give your fingers some strength, some agility and confidence, even within a position that's only 4 frets wide, so that you feel confident you can hit any note and hit it accurately within that. So please don't feel like you have to stretch clear across the fingerboard. But I do know that this 5-day challenge does present some interesting combinations of notes and interesting contortions of fingers. So stay positive, and I can assure you at the end of the week, even within a single position on the fretboard, you're going to feel a lot better and more confident because you've pushed your limits just a little bit. Plus, this 5-day challenge is going to segue nicely into our May Play Every Day challenge, which I've got some details for you. You're going to need to hear them. You're going to want to stay tuned because I'm giving away not 1, but 2 guitars that are stellar and some other awesome stuff. I'll get to that in a minute, but I do want to celebrate some Tackiversaries. Yes, indeed. I want to climb to the top of the Guitar Geek Mountain and shout from the top and say, happy Tackiversary to all of those who have actually experienced a Tackiversary and have shared it on the forums. Tackiversary is really a high point because not only is it a time for celebration, you spent a year at Tony's Acoustic Challenge, you can look back at your progress. These Tackiversaries are really meant as a reflection piece because it gives you a chance to pause and say, holy smokes, I've completed a year. This is my Tackiversary. How did my guitar journey look? How has it looked? What's the progress been like? And then more importantly, it allows you to look forward and say, what do I want my next year to look like? And it allows you to set some goals and place your targets on some things, taking into account what you've already accomplished. And I've got 4 of them for today. We're going to start off with 2. Now, celebrating her first Tackiversary is Sherry H. And with a Tackiversary celebration, of course, we ask a couple of questions, and this is how Sherry answered. First, we asked, where were you with guitar when you joined? Sherry said this: when I started Tack, I was full of love for the guitar, but empty on knowledge and ability. I bought a little Martin as the first small investment. I started with just picking out 1-note melodies, but that was not too satisfying. I had great hopes of adding fingerstyle fullness to those melodies, but never quite figured out how to do that. I learned a few chords, but couldn't really manage the transitions with any decent speed. I really struggled with the C chord, and then realized that was only the beginning of chords that I could not make. That is when I was ready to give up. Then one night, I was up late online, and I saw this video of Tony advertising a seminar starting in a few minutes. Very uncharacteristic of me, I signed up for the seminar and sat up till almost 2 a.m. listening to Tony. You and my wife should talk, probably. I joined TAC right then. I started the daily practices the next day and was way over my head. Luckily, Tony introduced the 30 days to play the next week, and I got more of what I needed, and I happily stuck with it. The next question we asked Sherry was, what are 3 things you can do now that you couldn't do before Tony's Acoustic Challenge? First, I can make that C chord without even thinking about it now, and I'm getting more consistent clarity on my bar chords. Secondly, I can stretch my hands further so that I was able to step up to a new 0015M Martin. I was willing to make a bigger investment because I have confidence that I'm not going to give up on this journey. This is so cool, I love this. And third, because I am a fretboard wizard, I now know so much more about scales, keys, chord progressions, and writing songs. I'm on the path of adding that missing additions to my melodies. And then the final question is this. Complete this statement. It would be amazing if this time next year I can, and Sherry said, play faster and with enough confidence to ask to join the Austin Jam Club. This has been an awesome experience. I want to thank Tony for creating this wonderful environment, and I want to thank all the TAC community for making it such a welcoming and safe place to take chances and be vulnerable. I'm still a little shaky when I hit the submit button, but I'm secure in knowing that my TAC community is there to encourage me and inspire me to keep improving and enjoy my journey. I'm looking forward to the next year, or I'm looking forward to year 2. So cool. And did you hear that, Austin Jam Club? Sherry says this time next year, she wants to play faster and with enough confidence to ask to join the Austin Jam Club. So I'm just gonna, on behalf of Sherry, I'm just gonna say, hey, Austin Jam Club, you might be growing another member here in the next couple of weeks, days, months. Whenever Sherry's comfortable, she'll reach out. So cool. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing that with us. And of course, congratulations on your first TACiversary. Our next TACiversary comes from Don C. And he's got a great TACiversary. In fact, he has a video that we'll get to here in a moment. But there he is with a beer, happy as a clam, love it. And this is what Don C had to say in his TACiversary post. I am celebrating my first TACiversary. When I started, I couldn't play at all. I knew a few chords, but that was it. In fact, my 30 days to play video was pretty pathetic. Playing guitar is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I have all of these ideas and knowledge in my head now, but my hands don't always cooperate. With that said, I have stuck with it and I have gradually improved. The hardest thing for me is changing chords in a timely manner. It is slowly coming. I can play a few songs, not well, but I can play them. I just keep practicing. I keep reminding myself that my long-term goal is to be able to play and jam with others. Right now, I live in Switzerland, and the opportunity for jamming has not presented itself. I really want to go to the TAC Jam Festival in June, but we are scheduled to go back to California next year, so maybe I can make it then. Well, we certainly hope you can. Although I read a lot of comments, I don't really interact that much with the community. That mostly has to do with time constraints. Whenever I've had a question or posted something, people have been really supportive. I really appreciate that. I feel like I have turned a corner in the last month or so. New concepts are getting a little easier and a lot more fun. I'm going through the Fretboard Wizard and I was able to identify the key of every song correctly. I didn't think I would ever be able to do that, so I'm optimistic about my future guitar self and looking forward to it. Hopefully by this time next year, I'll be able to contribute more to the open mic forum and maybe just post an original song. Thanks everybody for being a part of the journey. Now, check this out. Don submitted a video, as I mentioned before, and I thought, let's just include that because it's pretty darn awesome, and I think he's well on his way to contributing to that open mic forum. In fact, I think he's a little bit further along than he thinks he is. Here's Don's video.
Hi, my name is Don C, and I'm celebrating my 1-year TACiversary. So I decided to make a TAC video. It's April Fool's Day, and there's no fool like an April Fool's, so I'm going to play a verse for a song for you. We're going to try it out. When I first started at TAC, I couldn't play anything, and a few chords, no chord transitions, so I decided to maybe document how far I've come. So here we go. Be gentle. And don't mind my singing. Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. Feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. buzzing, man. I need some buzz repellent. All right, so there you have it. Happy April Fool's Day, and I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.
So awesome. I want to congratulate Don on his first Tackiversary and also for just going for it, playing the song right there in the video. And in fact, Don, you're going to kick off, you're going to segue us perfectly into checking in on the community and looking at some performances that were submitted over the last month or so. And I am delighted because the activity in the forums has been furious in a good way, the good kind of furious, where like you can't keep up because so many songs are being posted. This first submission comes from TAC member Marie. She joined February of 2020 and just immediately dove right in and submitted her version of 9 Pound Hammer. She says this: I really liked this song because of the open G tuning. And she says, I messed up around the end, but it was my 50th attempt to record, and my fingers were more than done with all the slides and hammer-ons. I'm hoping you will forgive me. Well, we certainly do, Marie. Let's give a listen to Marie's version of 9 Pound Hammer. I love the smile at the end. I want to thank Marie for sharing that song with us. And just so cool to see. I love not being able to see the headstock of the guitar and trying to guess what it is. My guess is that it's a Martin D15M, kind of that distressed one. But maybe Marie can let me know if she's tuned in live, or maybe on the replay, just leave a comment. Our next performance comes from Charlo, a member that joined January of 2020. And they say, still working out the kinks, but here's my version of Freight Train. Take it away, Charlo. Pretty excited to see an Orangewood guitar in the mix. Thank you so much, Charlo, for submitting that version of Freight Train. Now, I want to dig into our May Play Everyday Challenge. This is some exciting stuff, but I also want to remind you all who are watching, if you have a question or if something's come up, put hashtag question in the comments, and we'll go ahead and collect those questions. And right after I tell you about this May Play Everyday Challenge, I'll go ahead and answer a couple more questions to keep our Guitar Geek knowledge, or our Guitar Geek brains growing. Think of, what was that cartoon? Pinky and the Brain? Was that the cartoon, Pinky and the Brain?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it started with the Animaniacs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
And then they had their own show. After.
Yeah, the tiny guy, he had the big brain.
His name was Brain.
Yeah, well, that's how I picture all of us Guitar Geeks after these live parties, just walking around. Anyways, let me dig into the May Play Everyday Challenge. I'm just excited because I had my first Mr. Rogers moment. I got up and walked to the couch. It was like it felt good. Anyways, let me tell you more about this May Play Everyday Challenge. First of all, what is it? Well, the May Play Everyday Challenge is designed to encourage you right before summer hits to sink in and develop a good, solid practice habit because it's so important. Summer is filled with, it's filled with distraction. It could be filled with visitors, maybe travel. Maybe the kids are home from school. There's a lot going on in summer, and there's still a lot of question marks. We don't even know if we can travel this summer yet. But I digress. Summer is a busy time and can really test the strongest of guitar playing habits. That's why in May, we want to encourage you to focus on your playing habit. We want to focus on encouraging you to log in every day, spend your 10 minutes on that daily challenge, and mark it complete. And the May Play Everyday Challenge does just that. And I'll tell you why, because it involves some prizes, certainly some incentivization. Now, what do you have to do? Well, as I mentioned, all you have to do is every day during the month of May, log in and complete that day's daily challenge. What does complete mean? It means logging in, spending 10 focused minutes on that daily challenge, and once that 10 minutes is up, you can mark it complete. Okay? That's what complete means. It doesn't mean you have to memorize it, doesn't mean you have to master it, doesn't mean you have to play it note for note. It just means you have to spend 10 focused minutes on that exercise, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, really sinking in and focusing on the challenge at hand. It's all you have to do. Log in, 10 minutes, mark it complete. Why? Well, there's two benefits. One I already mentioned is I want you to head into summer with a really strong playing habit. It takes about, I want to say it takes about 17 to 21 days to really firm up a habit. You got the whole month of May to firm up a habit. And summer, as I mentioned, tests the strongest of guitar playing habits. So what better time to launch into a solid playing habit than right before summer when things get difficult? And you got plenty of time to build that habit. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is that there are a gaggle of Guitar Geek prizes at hand here. Yes, a gaggle. I think that's normally associated with geese. I'm going to use it in terms of Guitar Geeks. You got a gaggle of Guitar Geeks here, a gaggle of Guitar Geeks there. What do Guitar Geeks want? They want gaggles of Guitar Geek prizes. Well, let me list the prizes that I'll be giving away at the end of May, in our next live guitar party. I'm going to be giving away an Acoustic Tuesday coffee mug. Unfortunately, I don't have a sample. I've got my Hodag mug, but it looks a lot like this, and it's an Acoustic Tuesday mug. I'll be giving away one of those Acoustic Tuesday mugs, an Acoustic Tuesday shirt. I'll be giving away 2 Santa Cruz Guitar Company string combos, meaning you're going to get 1 set of low tension and 1 set of mid tension. 2 of those combo packs I'll be giving away. I'll be giving away 2 Tony's Acoustic Challenge lifetime memberships. I'll be giving away a Journey first class overhead parlor guitar. Yes, I just recently reviewed it. In fact, it appears in, I believe, the John Prine episode of Acoustic Tuesday if you want to sink into that guitar a little bit more. That's going to be up for grabs. And then last but certainly not least, the grand prize. I'm thinking, I've been really liking giving away these Waterloos. So I got a WL12 or a WL14 in my sights. It's going to be one of those two. I've been shooting texts back and forth to Matt at Eddie's Guitars. And I'm like, I think I'm going to do another Waterloo. He's like, that's a great idea. They're killer guitars. And then we have some other options bouncing around. But it's going to be either a Waterloo WL12 or WL14, or maybe it's a grab bag item. I don't know. It could be a mystery guitar. But either way, it's going to be something special, something that I would certainly want, which makes me know that you would want it as well. So yes, all you have to do is during the month of May is log in, spend your 10 minutes on each daily challenge, mark it complete. By the end, not only will you get your practice badge, you'll get entered in to win one of these amazing prizes. What are they again? Let me go over them. An AT coffee mug, Acoustic Tuesday coffee mug, an Acoustic Tuesday shirt, 2 Santa Cruz Guitar Company parabolic tension string combo packs, 2 Tony's Acoustic Challenge lifetime memberships, 1 Journey first class overhead parlor guitar, and 1 Waterloo WL12 or WL14. Or maybe another Waterloo. I got to talk to Matt. So there you have it. That's the list of prizes. All you have to do is play guitar. It's a no-brainer. If I could enter, I would. I can't, though. I have to play game show host. I'm splitting my time between Mr. Rogers, game show host, talk show host, and news anchor. And it's tough. It's a tough act. But luckily, I have help. Speaking of that help, Nordiques fan number 1 in the corner here, Colorado Kyle. What questions came in, if any? Maybe none came in.
Yeah, we have a few more. All right. Philip Baru What kind of finger picks are you using there?
I was using Dunlop Zuki's M20, my favorite thumb pick of all time. I have probably 100 of them. Dunlop Zuki's M20. M refers to the size. They come in large or medium. And then 20 refers to the angle on the blade. They come in a 10-degree angle, a 20-degree angle, and a 30-degree angle. So I like the Dunlop Zuki's M20 for my thumb pick. For the finger picks, I like the Pro Pick, P-R-O-P-I-K. That's how it's spelled. Number 3s in brass. So again, those are made available through Guptill Music, Guptill. They're Pro Pick split band finger picks in brass, and they are the number 3. So those are my tools of choice, and I use those on guitar, banjo, and dobro as well. They're the most comfortable for me, and certainly took some time to dial those in. But once I found them, I was like, I'm just gonna buy tons of these and store them in my basement. And Whitney's like, what do you need all these picks for? And I'm like, I found something that works, so I got to get a lot of them before they get discontinued, if they ever get discontinued. That's my method. Great question.
Mark Linder asks, any advice for us with some arthritis in our hands?
So I think tip number 3 really falls in line with that, and that is to try as best you can to reduce the amount of tension that you're holding, be it with your hand, be it within your forearm, or even up to your shoulder when it comes to your picking hand. What I've found is that I actually had some arthritis issues some years ago in my picking hand specifically, where my fingers would lock up. Very uncomfortable and really scary. So I integrated a stretching protocol that was given to me by a chiropractor that you can actually find in Stage 2. There's a course on stretching specifically. Just be careful with those. The whole notion is to be gentle, but just trying to increase range of motion and comfort of motion within your hand. Of course, check with a doctor before you enter anything like that, any sort of physical activity like that. I don't want to send anybody down a wrong road. So that's one thing you can do, is stretch. The other thing that you can do is they make, what is this called? It's called, you guys are, you're all gonna laugh, and I can just see the comments blowing up right now. There's a device called the Happy Massager, and it's a little wooden ball with a smiley face on it, with 4 little wooden knobbies sticking out of it. And I use it to actually massage the thumb. I call it the drumstick of my thumb. I don't know, I'm not an anatomy guy, but it looks like a chicken drumstick, so I massage that part. I also call it the thumb meat. That really helps with the tension in my thumb and in my hand overall. And you can also use that on the top of your forearm. You can kind of feel there's a muscle that goes up here that can hold a lot of tension, as well as down beneath. That's helped me a lot in terms of being able to not only mitigate tension, but at least recognize it when it's building up and have a way to kind of at least relieve some of it. And then that last thing that I mentioned is make sure that when you're finger picking, it's not a finger motion, it's more of an arm motion, using the weight of your hand, using gravity to do all the hard work for you, so that you're not holding tension in your fingers. So three outlets there. Definitely the stretching course, check it out. The Happy Massager. Again, I haven't looked at the comments, I probably should. Anyway, Jim says, I thought this was a family show. The Happy Massager, which you can find on Amazon or any of those kind of outlets, and then of course just help recognizing that gravity is a really powerful force. Obviously, welcome to the science show. But in terms of actually playing guitar, gravity can help you out a lot. In terms of we don't want to have our hands look like bodybuilder hands. We don't want to have muscly hands. We want to let gravity do that. We want to do as little work as possible, not out of laziness, but out of appreciation for what it offers. And that is good tone, great timing, and overall comfort, and extended hours playing the guitar.
All right. Derek Howard asks, how often do you change your strings? And maybe more importantly, how do you know when it's time to change your strings? Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, this is a great question, and it's really, I guess the stock answer is, it's different for everybody. But so let me just tell you how I approach changing my strings. I change my strings on the guitar that I'm playing most frequently. Lately, it's been my Bourgeois OMSC and my Thompson Dreadnought. Those two have been getting a lot of action lately. Also, the Beard Decaphonic sidecar has been getting a lot of action. I think one of the best indicators for changing strings is sound. Now, here's the crazy thing is a lot of times you don't notice it because it's this gradual decay in sound. But sometimes I'll pick up my guitar and it just doesn't have the shimmer, it doesn't have the bite, it doesn't have the articulation. It sounds kind of thuddy and dull. And that's when I'm like, okay, that's my first red flag. And I'm like, okay, these strings are dead. I probably have to change them. The next thing is visual. So we got the sound, then we actually look at the strings. And generally speaking, you can see the corrosion. Anywhere your hands are frequently touching the strings, think like first position, like basically anywhere, frets 1 through 5, you know, where the strings get a lot of action. And of course, if you're a finger picker down here by the bridge, you'll generally notice some discoloration, maybe some tarnish, and that's a good indicator. There's also so we got first of all sound, right? Do they sound dull? Second, visual. Do they look dull? And you can actually take that visual element one step further. There's a what is it called? It's a Music Nomad product. It's a string cleaner product that you can use. String Slick Strings. There's a bunch of, GHS makes one, it's called Fast Fret. Diodario makes one called Accelerate. The Music Nomad one is the nicest because it does all 6 strings at once. I can't remember, string deodorant. I think it's called string deodorant. Who would have thought? Anyways, it's from Music Nomad. But if you run that across your strings and you just see a bunch of dirt and grime and grit get picked up on the pad of the string lubricant, chances are it's probably time to change those strings because not only do they just wear out because of time, but they actually, crud builds up in between the windings. As gross as that is, that's what actually ends up diminishing the tone. So definitely sound is the first indicator, and then visual is the second. As for when I change mine, it's roughly every 2 to 2.5 weeks. I know that's a lot, and you guys, you know, some of you might be like, "Whoa, dude, that's ridiculous." I have this superhuman, uncanny X-Men sweat. It's like highly caustic, apparently, and it just eats guitar strings. I feel like part of the X-Men, but not an official part of the X-Men, and my superpower is to just eat through guitar strings. Kind of like Spider-Man, but just blasting through guitar strings. Anyways, that's my string changing routine. Kyle, what's the next question? You're looking at me like, oh my.
I guess first of all, gross. But
second of all, you will never be a part of the X-Men. Anyways.
all right, one more. We'll combine it. Thoughts on Alaska finger picks? And then what about different types of material picks that can improve sound?
This is this is a great question. This is a great combined question. First, let me just isolate the Alaska picks. Alaska picks are fantastic. For those of you who gravitate towards the sound of using your fingernails, for those of you who gravitate towards that delicate kind of sound, that more articulate sound that fingernails give you, but you can't necessarily grow your fingernails, or you find that they break often, or they just don't hold up to guitar strings, Alaska picks are great because they actually slip over your fingernail and you use just the edge of your fingernail underneath them. So you get the same kind of feeling of leverage, but you get this wonderful consistent tone from the Alaska picks. I think they're fantastic. I've seen a lot of players use those to great success. There's also a company called Tiptonic finger picks that are kind of like fingernail almost replicants that are pretty interesting. You actually heat them up, and there's a glue that makes it kind of adhere to the top of your fingernail. Not permanently. They're actually really easy to remove. But those are great as well. So Alaska picks and Tiptonic picks in terms of some options for those of you that like fingernail picking. In terms of pick materials and what they do to the sound, I'm going to zoom out and just kind of include flat picks in here because it's one of the most inexpensive experiments you can do to change the sound of your guitar. And I say this because nevertheless, it always surprises me. In fact, the Emerald X30, I don't know where it is. It's here in the studio somewhere. When I demoed the Emerald X30, I use a blue chip 80. It's a really thick blue chip pick, and I love it. It works great on my Dreadnoughts. It sounds awesome. When I went to the Emerald X30, I was kind of missing some nuance. I was missing some flavor. I was missing some sound. So rather than say the guitar didn't match my expectations, I actually started messing with the equipment that I used and found that if I used a thinner pick, it actually reacted on the guitar much better and produced the sound that I was hoping I would get. So not only in terms of pick material, but pick thickness can affect the tone you get as well. And again, as I mentioned, it's one of the cheapest experiments you can do to change the sound of your guitar. So you've got, in the plastics department, you've got celluloid, you've got Ultex, you've got blue chip, which is a kind of a weird, I don't even know what that material is, but those three alone will give you different sounds. In fact, the softer the material, generally speaking, the more mellow the sound. The harder the material, the more articulate, the more snappy the sound. And then you've got wooden picks, which are really mellow. You've got the bone. There's bone picks that John Pierce makes. Those are actually really cool. They feel a little strange, but they have wonderful articulation, a nice kind of a brilliance to them. Also, I should mention Red Bear picks, which is like a man-made tortoise shell type material. It's scientifically grown. It's not harvested from an animal, but it's a softer material that gives you this wonderful woodiness and mellowness. But it's pretty stiff as well, so you get wonderful snap. It's pretty darn awesome material. So the material does have a great impact on tone, and I guess for kind of a rough gauge of how it will impact the tone, the softer the material, the more mellow, the more woody, the more confined your instrument will sound. The harder the material, the more snappy, the more articulate, the more brilliant your instrument will sound. And that's just material alone. There's a whole discussion on picks that we could get into that would take a good portion of the day. We'd convert from coffee to bourbon really quick. But that's at least, it will give you kind of a rough guideline. Those are awesome questions, and I want to thank everybody for putting your questions there in the comments. Now, I'm feeling celebratory, so I do want to dive into our next round of Tackiversaries. Again, Tackiversary is a chance to celebrate your time here at Tony's Acoustic Challenge, but also look forward and see, if I was capable of this in the last year, what am I capable of in the future? And I've got a fantastic one here coming up. This one's from Dan D, and this is his third Tackiversary. His third Tackiversary. So congratulations, Dan, times 3. And I want to read to you what he wrote, because I think this is just it's a wonderful story, and it's one that, I don't know, I read this story and it struck me as like, man, you can, as long as you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And I know that sounds kind of altruistic, but it's true, and Dan's a great example. So here's what Dan had to say. Well, Tack, this is my third Tackiversary. I will give you a short snippet of my musical guitar journey. Some of you will know the setback that I encountered in my musical journey. 1. I was inspired by the Beatles in a big way. In 1965, I started playing acoustic guitar and played for a year and started a garage band. At this time, I was 14, and obviously, it was just for fun. Step 2. Then I started playing electric guitar and played Beatles, Stones, and all the early British rock. Then I quit for a while, playing once a month type of thing. Step 3, or I'll say chapter 3. Chapter 3. Then I set it down for a few years and then started back in 1970. And I was now playing acoustic once again, now playing America, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Anyway, I got distracted by motorcycle racing, then to drag racing. Chapter 4. Fast forward to 1992. I moved to San Mateo, California. I started again about 4 months later, taking private lessons from one of the famed session guitarists. See, I had only played by ear and had no formal training. Chapter 5. The reason was to have some theory under my belt, because I could play, but I didn't know what or why anything worked or didn't work. I loved this aspect and learning chord melody type songs, and really loved knowing a little more theory. So now I'm just dangerous. Chapter 6. I'm deep in a guitar journey, and I'm fixing up a house because we had to move. Anyway, sit down for this. I pulled my ring finger off my fretting hand. I was by myself, so I look up and my finger is still in the ring under the eave. I jumped up and my ring went around a cup hook. I come down and said to myself, dang, that hurt. So I look at my hand and was devastated when I looked at my hand and my finger was gone. I look up and there it is hanging by the ring. I drove myself to the hospital and had 6 hours of microsurgery. Had it put back on, and 6 weeks later, they took it back off. It didn't take. So I took a few months off and then started back. I tried left-hand guitar, took that guitar back. Chapter 7. I stayed back at it for a year and was just starting to be able to move my pinky once again because I learned your pinky shares the tendon that works your ring finger. Chapter 8. My wife and kids get in a van and move to Georgia in 1994, so raising kids and moving, I stopped playing once again. Chapter 9. Fast forward to April 26, 2017. I picked up my guitar that I hadn't played in 20 years, and I couldn't play much. I decided to turn on YouTube to see if I could find something to play. Chapter 10. Now here it comes. What interrupts my lesson but Tony P and him explaining the bouncy ball syndrome? And are you tired of it? He was having a free theory lesson, and I listened and joined. Chapter 11, I'm so glad I joined on that day, not just because I've become a better player. Chapter 12, the biggest reason I have enjoyed this ride so much is that the people I've met here at TAC, being able to collaborate with other TACers from around the globe, there are no boundaries. I have bored you all enough over my life as a frustrated guitarist, so enjoy yourselves, TACers. Tomorrow is never promised, so remember yesterday, live for today, and dream about tomorrow. I love it here at TAC. Well, thanks, Dan, for taking us through your guitar journey step by step there. And wow, I had to read that and then reread it again because as any guitar player can attest to, you hear that any sort of damage to your digits, it's just kind of, it's like double cringeworthy for a guitarist. And to hear that not only did it happen to you, but you persevered through it and are still playing and enjoying it and having fun to this day, I think is so inspirational and awesome. I just want to thank you for taking time to share that and just helping us guitar geeks realize that really anything's possible. It's so cool. I appreciate that so much. So congratulations, Dan, on year number 3 at Tony's Acoustic Challenge. We've got one more TACiversary for you today to celebrate, and this is a first-year TACiversary from Ricky K. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky K came in as a baby, and now he is a bearded baby 1 year later. Fantastic curl of that mustache right there, and those beautiful baby blue eyes. Check them out. Are those blue? Those are more hazel, aren't they? No. Anyways, here's what Ricky K had to say. Well, I'm submitting this a couple weeks before my actual 1 year anniversary of my join date, but I'm in my join month, so I'm okay with it. All right, here goes. After being on Tony's Acoustic Challenge for 1 year, where were you with the guitar when you joined? I was in the living room. My guitar was in its case in the closet. Oh, that's not what's being asked? But actually, that's about the crux of it. I hadn't been playing the guitar. It stayed in its case out of sight where I wouldn't be reminded how disappointed I was in myself for not achieving the guitar goals my 14-year-old self had set oh so long ago. Or call it a 30-year-ish long guitar rut. Either way, I wasn't playing much, definitely wasn't learning anything new, and was at the point of thinking maybe I should just sell my guitars. I only had 2 at that point. Question 2, what are 3 things you can do now that you couldn't do before TAC? Well, number 1, can make newbie help posts or Weird Acoustic Tuesday spreadsheets. Number 2, I can finger pick. I was really never able to finger pick or play fingerstyle, if you choose to distinguish between the two, and relied heavily on either playing with a pick or doing some hybrid picking. Think White Lions When the Children Cry. Now, playing fingerstyle is my preferred way to play, even though I'm still very new at it. And number 3, I can play with a thumb pick. I'd have to say this is my biggest accomplishment. I can't tell you how many thumb picks I've bought and thrown away or lost over the last 30 years. I just couldn't get used to them. They were uncomfortable, awkward, hard to use, but with some perseverance and some Michael K encouragement early in my TAC journey, well, now it's like second nature. Actually, it feels weird when I try to play without one now. So cool. And question 3, complete this statement. It would be amazing if this time next year, I can say that I have expanded my song repertoire, which is a Wogie category, have met more TACers face to face, have completed Fretboard Wizard for the 2nd time, have learned to sing while I play. On a more serious note, TAC has been a lifesaver for me when it comes to guitar. Since joining, I can count on one hand the days I have not played guitar in the past year. I've met a great group of people here, some that I consider genuine friends, some that have inspired me, some that have taught me, many that have made me smile or brighten my day, and oh so many that have encouraged me. This is truly a wonderful community that I am proud to be a part of. So cool to get that from Ricky K, and just such a light in our community. So thanks for sharing that with us, Ricky, and congratulations on your first TACiversary. Now, I want to stay in the forum land. I want to stay community-minded here, and I want to sink into a couple more performances because, as I mentioned, the forums are just buzzing lately with some awesome additions, and I've got some great ones here for us. some longtime members posting some great covers and some great original songs as well. This first one comes from Dom T. Dom has been a member since January of 2015. And here he is covering Fortunate Son. He says, I just felt like doing this one. Another stripped down version of a hit song. Enjoy. Here's Dom.
Some folks are born, made to wave the flag. Ooh, that red, white, and that blue. And when the band plays, hail to the chief. Ooh, they point the cannon at you, Lord. It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no senator's son. It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. No. Some folks.
I want to thank Dom for sharing that. And there's two things that I noticed. Number one, I feel like I'm on a hot streak naming the guitars that are used. I want to say that's a Martin Eric Clapton. Dom, if you're tuned in, you can just let me know in the comments. Second, I feel like Dom strung that in a Nashville tuning because it's extra jangly. It's got this wonderful brilliance and crystalline quality to it. So Dom, again, if you're in the comments, let me know if that was Nashville strung. And for those of you who might not know what that is, that's when you string a guitar Nashville style, it's essentially taking a set of 12-string guitar strings, taking out all of the high or octave strings, and just using those on your guitar. It gives it this wonderful kind of high-strung sound and almost kind of it's got this chimey bell-like quality. It's very, very cool. I was kind of looking at the, oh, he did. Oh, Trace confirmed he did string that in the Nashville style, which is so cool. So thank you again, Dom, for sharing that. What a great song, and the guitar sounded great as well. Next up, I want to feature an original song. This comes from a member that has been with Tony's Acoustic Challenge since November of 2014. In that time, she has released an album with a band, her band Under the Oak. In that time, she has released a solo album called June Tapes. I'm talking about Maggie Pope here, one of my guitar heroes, and she has recorded the song The Pilgrim for us, and she says this in her post: Hey Guitar Geeks, I've been down and out with a pretty debilitating back injury the past 2 weeks. I think I'm starting to turn a corner, but it has seemed like it's one step forward and another back. Took a nice nap today and woke up feeling a little bit more mobile, so I decided to pick up the guitar for a little bit. I haven't been playing all that much, if at all, these entire 2 weeks. It's hard. I've also been planning on how to get a live stream, something up and running during this quarantine thing, so I got my camera set up to test it out and practice playing in front of it again. Anyway, I did clean myself up by putting on a headband for you, just in case it ended up being something I wanted to share. I'm pretty tired and feeling a little sad too. I guess everyone is. Still lots of hope and gratitude to be found though. Thought I'd share this song. It's one I wrote called The Pilgrim. When I wrote it, I originally called it Song for the Dying. That was a little too dark, so I settled on The Pilgrim instead. I was supposed to sing this at a memorial service for a friend of a friend this May. Not sure if they will need to reschedule that or not, but I thought I'd throw this out there for anyone who might be grieving the loss of a loved one. It's a hopeful song. I hope you like it. And with that, here's Maggie singing The Pilgrim.
I'll be your light in the morning, I will be your quiet, be your song. I will wander in cool daydreams till we're both where we belong. Lay me down in fields of willows, fields of glory stained with love. Lay me down beneath three shadows. will dwell with God above.
All right, thanks so much, Maggie. We like those posts. We like those original tunes. Please keep sharing those with us. Our final performance today is in conjunction with the Goodnight Irene challenge we did last month. A lot of great submissions. We'll be doing a mashup here soon, but I wanted to select one because it's very timely. This is from Brig. He's been a member since October 2019, and he just says this: "Hello all from quarantine life. Don't mind the children fighting in the background towards the end. That's just how I roll now." With that said, here's Brig playing Goodnight Irene. I want to thank Brig for sharing that, and also I failed to mention the guitar that Maggie was playing. Since I'm on a kind of a guitar streak here, I know for a fact Maggie was playing a Martin D35 Seth Avett, and I think Brig was playing an Eastman. It's a slotted headstock. I couldn't tell if it was 12 frets or 14, but a beautiful guitar nonetheless. I know it was an Eastman because I saw the headstock. I kind of cheated, but so cool that Brig posted that. Even with the kids fighting in the background, because I cannot tell you all how many times I've recorded videos at home, and like within the last 20 seconds, Coda, the big white Pyrenees dog that I have, starts barking. And I'm like, oh, I can't use it. But Brig's like, you know what? I'm using it. Here it is. So I was pumped. I was pumped to see that. So thanks, Brig. Thanks to everybody who's posting in the forums. It's so cool to have such a lively community and have such awesome music happening. Music made by our friends that we can enjoy, you know, during the times when, well, gosh, we can't just pop outside or go to the local pub. So it's really nice to see those performances, and I'm very grateful for the community. In fact, one of the segments that I've tried and started to integrate in the Acoustic Tuesday show, but here in our live parties as well, is guitar gratitude. Something that I think is really important is to take pause and just kind of think of our guitar and think of the things it has brought to us, be it friends, be it relationships, be it situations, be it just a newfound confidence or a good friend in dark times. And I'm encouraging all of you to submit a guitar gratitude. All you have to do is visit guitargratitude.com. Once you go there, you'll be prompted to submit a video. You can record it right there on that screen in a single click of a button. Once you do that, you can submit it, and then I'll feature it on the Acoustic Tuesday show, on the live guitar parties, and our Instagram channel as well. I should actually promote that a little bit. If you're on Instagram and you want more guitar geeky goodness, please follow tack.guitar on Instagram. I've been posting performances, member-submitted guitarsenals, awesome photos from the Acoustic Life Festival, some great quotes, and just some overall great inspiration for your guitar journey. So please follow us there if you haven't already. And speaking of guitar gratitude, that was the focus of this, I wanted to tip my hat to Doug B. Thank him for submitting this guitar gratitude, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. Take it away, Doug.
Hey there, TAC fam. Doug B here. Just wanted to throw out some guitar gratitude for everyone. Really would just like to say that I'm grateful for the guitar, learning the guitar. It's been a huge connection in my adult life with my dad. I started goofing around when I was 21. I'm now 34, so it's been a little while, and definitely glad I found Tony's Acoustic Challenge to help me further this gratitude, and really just to give me a deeper connection to music and just learning new skills as an adult, because you know we're not all kids anymore playing sports, organized sports, so it's harder to increase our skills. So glad that I can work on something in my downtime. And Guitar Geeks Unite.
I want to thank Doug for submitting that. And there's a couple of observations and comments I want to make. First, I feel like Doug's guitar journey has certainly paralleled mine. There's a couple of things he mentioned in there. Having it help him be closer to his dad. That's definitely something that the guitar has brought me personally as well. In addition to that time you find yourself, I mean, me specifically, when sports ended for me, I was like lost. I was lost at sea. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was going to pour my heart and effort into, and then the guitar came along. And it sounds like it did the same thing for Doug as well. So cool. While that was playing, Colorado Kyle asked me, he said, "Hey, what guitar is that, Hot Shot?" And I said, "Well, I met Doug at ALF, so I should know this, but I'm pretty sure, so judging by the headstock alone, I think it's a silkscreen Martin logo. I want to say it's a Martin X series of sorts. Obviously, I can't tell the body size, but that's my best guess if I'm going to keep going on the guitar guessing train here. That's my small win for the day. I've tried to guess every single guitar. Whether I was right or wrong, it was still a good attempt, and I'm happy with that. So that's my small win, but I do want to know what your small win is. Think of the past month. What is one small win that stands out to you? And please place it in the comments. Put hashtag small win and go ahead and describe your small win. I'm going to be giving away a guitar, and while I do that, Kyle's going to read those small wins with his best radio announcer voice, which you've heard of already. Those small wins are so important, not only because it's great to celebrate and reflect on those pieces of goodness in your guitar journey, but it also inspires other people to help them know that, hey, it's possible. Making an F bar chord that's buzz-free, it's possible, and I can keep working at it, and I will do it, just like my fellow guitar geeks did it. So yes, it's awesome celebration, but it also serves as inspiration, motivation for your fellow guitar geeks as well. So again, in the comments, put hashtag small win and go ahead and describe your favorite small win from the last month. While you're thinking of that, I'll give you a couple of news items here from Tony's Acoustic Challenge headquarters. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff. In fact, I've been developing another 5-day challenge for you. I have not filmed it yet, but it's going to be a 5-day cross-picking challenge that will make its appearance likely towards the end of summer. I've been listening to a lot of Molly Tuttle to get inspired on that, so you might hear some Molly Tuttle-isms in that cross-picking challenge. So that is coming up, I think, later in summer. I've also been talking to a bunch of different manufacturers, trying to pull together some perks for the Tony's Acoustic Challenge members, some special deals, some special offers for you as a thank you for being a part of this amazing guitar community, but also to help grow your guitar geekism, maybe get you some new gear at a discount. So that is in the works. No final dates on that, but I just want you to know I've been talking to a lot of really cool manufacturers, a lot of manufacturers that I really admire. It's been fun to get on the phone with not only the folks involved, the crew, but also a lot of times the heads of these companies. Really been learning a lot, and it's fun. It's fun to be in touch with these folks on behalf of this Guitar Geek community. Also, I should mention, come Friday of this week, you'll see a new addition to Stage 1. Yes, there's a new course coming out. It's fully programmed, and it's officially going to be launched on Friday. It is a Stage 1 course that's kind of it picks up where 30 Days to Play left off. It's called Your Next 6 Chords. The top question after 30 Days to Play is, hey, I want to play some songs, but there's this weird E major chord, or there's this weird D minor chord, or gosh, what's a bar chord and how do you make it? Well, this course tackles those very subjects. It's entitled Your Next 6 Chords, and not only is it going to teach you those 6 chords, it's actually going to give you some fun musical exercises to help you gain strength and confidence in those chords. So when they come up in a song, you can actually play them and feel good about them. So that's coming on Friday. And then we've been filming. This whole last couple months, we've been filming a new idea for a new series here in Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And I heard there was some leaked footage out there. I heard that it was leaked. It made all the national newspapers. And of course, I don't know who leaked the footage, but I figured since it was leaked, we should share it with you. So I'm not going to get too specific on what this is. I think the video will do a lot of, revealing of what it could be, but I wanted to let you all in on this little secret we've been working on. So Colorado Kyle, why don't you cue it up? I don't know who leaked it. I don't even know what it could be, but I wanted to share it with you to see if you all think you know what it might be. Certainly, it certainly looks cool. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. You'll see some interesting developments in that department coming up. Now, since I've given you all the TAC news here, some updates, some insider information, even some leaked video. I feel like we're TMZ. I feel like we're TMZ with the paparazzi out, and the guitar paparazzi. Anyways, I've gone off the deep end. I'm drinking some new coffee. It's called Dead Man's Reach. I think this was sent as a gift, as a matter of fact, but I didn't see a gift card in there. So thank you to whoever sent the Dead Man's Reach coffee. It's called High Speed Coffee, and the bag has skulls, ravens, and other cool things on it. It's a win-win-win in my book. It tastes delicious, it looks cool, and it certainly functions well because I am flying high. But I want to give away a guitar. I want to give away a guitar right this very moment. In fact, with all the guitars laying around, I got a 1935 Martin Singolo 17 on the couch. I've got a 1956 Martin Singolo 18 next to me here. I've got my Supro Collegian back there. I've got my Beard Vintage R resonator back there. I just don't want to throw a dart around all these guitars, and I think you all will be okay with that. So I've got your lovely pictures here, and each of you is assigned a number. I've actually written numbers on this. It took me a good chunk of time. And I'm going to queue up my random number generator here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a number. And while I do this, while I do my research in determining the guitar giveaway winner, I'm going to kick it over to Colorado Kyle, and he's going to read some small wins that you all have experienced over the last month. I might interrupt with the number.
No worries.
But Kyle, you take it away, man.
All right. Beth Lloyd says, played a 15-minute set of originals on an online open mic that featured over 25 artists.
That's awesome. That's huge. Number 380, you have won. Let me tell you who number 380 is. Stand by. Carry on.
All right. I think it's, I'll say Johan D. Melander said, played Wild Thing with my two boys.
That's
today.
Awesome. That is so cool.
That's all he said. Greg F. Finally built the wall rack for my guitars. Now I can just grab one, and good for keeping alternative tunings lying around.
That's awesome. That's great. It takes the pain out of trying to retune and tune and retune and tune. That's pretty awesome.
Gotcha. Rasmus says, I got my Taylor.
Nice. Colorado Kyle can relate to that.
I can agree. I did get a Taylor as well. Michael Jones says, it's my second week of TAC, and my girlfriend has already started to notice my progression with the guitar. Pretty stoked about that.
That's way cool.
Mark Lake says, really starting to smooth out my flat picking.
Fantastic.
Island Sons 555 joined TAC and then bought a guitar. Great.
Nice.
That's a good small win.
This is a good combo too.
Yeah.
Fantastic combo.
Rhonda Gann, I quit private lessons that I've been taking for 2 years because I've learned more in the 3 months I've done TAC than 2 years of lessons.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
Yay me.
Yay you for sure. That's awesome.
And that looks like that's where we're at right now.
Well, awesome. Well, I have found the winner. Funny enough, I picked number 380 on the random number generator. Then I went to find number 380. Unfortunately, that person didn't have a profile picture, so I couldn't give away a guitar to them, which is a bummer, but it also serves as a lesson for all of us. If you want to win a guitar, definitely want to get that profile picture uploaded. Just want to say that. So then I went ahead and regenerated a random number, just 6 away from 380, number 386, and I'd like to announce that Rob H. has won himself a Taylor GS Mini. Rob will be in touch via email to make sure that the shipping address is correct, and we'll get you your Taylor GS Mini. Congratulations to you, Rob, and congratulations to everybody on this list. 513 people completed April's practice challenges, and I think that is a huge win in and of itself. So pretty darn awesome. Again, congratulations, Rob H. Congratulations to everybody who committed to their playing habit this last month, who logged in, did the daily challenge, and marked it complete. Now, with that being said, I want to go ahead and wrap up today's live guitar party because, well, it's come to an end. It's come to an end. I've done the Mr. Rogers thing, the news anchor thing. I've leaked information a la TMZ style. I've been talk show host, barista. I've been a barista today. Anyways, let me give you a quick recap, some memorable moments from today's live party that I want you to hang on to. First and foremost, remember those 5 fingerstyle tips when you're thinking, man, that fingerstyle stuff looks really hard. It can be difficult, but the pieces are easy. The pieces are simple, and if you kind of wrap your head around those pieces and integrate those tips that I offered up at the beginning of today's workshop, I think you will see a very light and fun fingerstyle path ahead of you. Also, do know that 5-day challenge is going on right now. You're smack dab in the middle of the 5-day Finger Stretch Fiesta Challenge, and I want you to continue that because the goal there is to get confidence and some nice nimbleness and agility in your fretting hand fingers. Also, Play Everyday Challenge starting right now. For the entire month of May, what I want you to do is log in daily, spend 10 minutes on that daily challenge, and then mark it complete. And then at the end of the month, you'll be entered in to win one of those glorious prizes. We're talking a Waterloo guitar, a Journey instrument, a lifetime membership, one of 2, Santa Cruz Guitar Company, Parabolic Tension string combo packs. 2 of those are going out. Acoustic Tuesday t-shirt, Acoustic Tuesday coffee mug. You can outfit an entire Guitar Geek den with the prizes you could win. So that is coming up. Also, do know that I would love to hear about your Tackiversary. So please, if you have completed your first Tackiversary, if you completed your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th Tackiversary, please do celebrate those in the forum. I love featuring those. And again, they prove as great inspiration for other guitar geeks and also a great point of reflection for you on your guitar journey. And then last but certainly not least, you need to know when to tune in next to the live guitar party. That's going to happen on June 3rd at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. I cannot wait to see you there. I'll be giving away a ton of prizes. I'll have another workshop queued up for you. And ultimately, we can just celebrate this crazy journey that we're all on together. This wonderful guitar journey that we can have all of our friends alongside. It's pretty darn awesome. I want to thank you for sharing your time with me today. I want to thank you for being a guitar geek. I want to thank you for being a member of the best, strongest, most healthy and happy guitar community in the entire internet. I'm so happy you're here at Tony's Acoustic Challenge. Thank you so much. And remember, Guitar Geeks Unite. I'll see you next month, June 3rd, for our next live guitar party. Cheers.